Hey guys, I'm Scott. This is No Solution. This is my response to the metal tag. Rock Scout put up a list of 20 questions for people to answer in their own videos, and I've seen these in the past couple years and thought it looked like fun, but I had not started a channel, so now I have a channel and I can participate. It seems like a fun way to just show some random stuff from your collection. Um, yeah, so the list of questions will be below and also the link to the Rock Scouts original video explaining the metal tag. So let's get going. The first question was a false start album, an album that you struggled with but learned to love. That was an easy one for me. It is Fear by Marillion. Marillion is my favorite band. Um, and this album was 4 years in the making. And if you're not familiar with Marillion, they kind of, if they didn't invent crowdfunding, they were one of the first to do it. They've been crowdfunding their albums since about 2000. So, you know, the uber nerd fans like me buy the album at least a year ahead of time. So there's that extra anticipation. When I got this one, I listened to it. It's like, what the hell is this? It's a mess. There are no choruses. Songs just kind of go wherever they want. It has a lot of long songs that with movements rather than refrains or a standard chorus or hook, and it didn't make any sense to me, and I was so bummed. But you know, I waited a long time and I spent a lot of money on it, so I kept coming back to it, and every time I was like, "Oh, okay, that's a cool part. That's a cool part." And then eventually one day it just clicked, and it all made sense to me. So that in this age of being able to just listen to something for 10 seconds and then dismiss it, it's a good lesson that sometimes you stick with something and eventually you'll love it and it'll be one of your favorite albums, which is what happened to me with Fear. So, all right, number two, an album with war theme or lyrics. A lot of ways. I mean, it's metal, so it seems like you could pick almost anything. But I went with 1914. This is the first one I heard from them. Why can't I remember the name? The Blind Leading the Blind. This one kind of came out of nowhere. I just thought, oh, that's a cool cover, and I'll check it out on Bandcamp. And I listened to it. And it's like, holy crap, where these guys come from? And now with their last album, they've totally blown up. But I really like how they treat the war theme. It's not as someone would expect from heavy metal, like, oh, war is cool. It's like real stories about how awful it is. So that's my pick for number two. Number three, most influential metal musician of the last 10 years. This was hard because everyone I thought of was really their heyday was before the last 10 years. But then this one occurred to me. I picked Werewolf, the main man of Satanic Warmaster. While he hasn't put out a lot of Satanic Warmaster stuff in the last 10 years, his label has put out a ton of stuff. He's been involved with, it seems like half the bands out of Finland he's involved in some way with, whether it's, you know, playing keyboards or producing or being a full-fledged member of the band. And also just the style that Satanic Warmaster kind of made popular is just all over the place. So I feel like that's a good pick for most influential. Let's see. Band to see. For sure. Mugwa, I believe. Forgive my horrible ignorance on pronunciation, but I think that's how it's pronounced. Anyway, I know they've been to the States before, but it hasn't worked out. So they're definitely one of my favorites and one I would really like to see. An album that energizes you. I went back to the early days for this one. Nuclear Assault, Handle with Care. This was the first underground thing that I heard, even though I know it's not underground, but to a kid who knew Metallica and Testament and Megadeth, hearing Nuclear Assault was like, oh yeah, this is the real shit. I heard them on a college radio station they were doing a whole hour of them. They had an interview and then played a bunch of songs, and yeah, that really got me excited about, where do I go now that I'm into this, thrash metal? Who do I listen to? And that was the first band a little outside the box that I found, and it was really special to me. So I can still put it on and get almost as excited as when I heard it for the first time. All right, the Big Freeze album with a snow or ice cover. My first instinct was At the Heart of Winter, but I figured 1,000 people were going to show that. So I went with, oh my gosh, brace yourself. I'm going to try to pronounce this. Passage d'Hiver. And this is it's not the last full length. I think this was 2020. Imwald. I mean, the entire concept of this band seems to be a guy walking through a blizzard. So it's a black and white cover, so you can't really, but the guy's walking in the forest and it's snowing, and the entire sound of the band is just like you're walking through a winter landscape, usually a storm. Okay, Green album, or no, I'm sorry, number 7, song title with Royal Ties. This one came to me right away. Satanic Royalty by Midnight. This could have been the Energize one too, because as soon as Satanic Royalty starts, I'm just like, yeah, let's go. But yeah, Midnight. What do we got? Number 8, a Green album cover. This is what I thought of. It's Panopticon, the Crescendo of Dusk. This is a kind of a leftovers EP from the Scars of Man sessions and the Autumn Eternal sessions. Panopticon doesn't put on anything that's not essential. So just because it's leftover songs doesn't mean it's not good. And I pulled it out and looked at the cover. I was like, well, I mean, it's a little green, but why did that pop into my head when I thought green? And it was because of that. So that's my green pick. It's kind of green, and the record's green. All right, number 9. Something I bought in 2001 and didn't listen to in 2022. Actually, this question was kind of a wake-up call, because there were kind of a lot. Especially new releases from 2021 that I felt like I had to check out, and then even ones I liked, I tend to not revisit because I feel like I just listened to them. As you get older, time speeds up, but there were a lot. But this is one definitely I didn't listen to again. Was Eternal Hails by Dark Throne. I've been on board of Dark Throne through all of their changes and all their style shifts, but this was the first one that I was like, I don't know, man, it's kind of boring. And unfortunately, the last album continued on that path. So, well, they'll probably change again, and maybe I'll like that. So, let's see. Best find of 2022. I had a big haul. I found a bunch of stuff for super cheap, like $2 and $3. But I don't want to show a haul in this, so I picked A Corpse, a Temple by Black Solace. This was the only one I didn't have, and one popped up on Discogs, and I paid too much for it. I actually paid more for the CD than I could have bought the vinyl for, but I couldn't have all of them on CD except this one, and then just one vinyl. So, but I'm glad to have it. What do we got? No. New band or album discovery in 2022. I guess this could be kind of embarrassing, but this was my big discovery of 2022. Blue Oyster Cult, who started 50 years ago. This is a band that I've always felt like I should like, and I've tried over the years, and I would just start playing them. I was like, what is this hippy-dippy bullshit? I thought these guys were the American Black Sabbath because that was kind of how they were marketed. And I just took the plunge. I was like, this box set has almost everything. It's an awesome price. And if I spend the money on this, I'm actually going to try instead of getting halfway through a record and saying forget it. And it worked. Yeah, they're an amazing band. They were done a disservice by being called the American Black Sabbath because they're nothing like Black Sabbath. I got really into them this year and actually got to see them in concert. And they're in their 70s. Well, Eric and Buck are. They're the only original members. They still rock, and they still care, and they still play different songs every show. I mean, you would think they just have the 10 songs they play and that's it, but they mix it all up. They play weird, deep cuts, and yeah, so that was my big discovery this year. Number 12, an album sold to you by a song. That would be Riverside Out of Myself. This is the Reality Dream Trilogy version. It's got the first 3 albums and a bunch of bonus stuff. I don't have a standalone version of Out of Myself, but it's in here. Guy named Dave Thomas from a podcast I listened to was just talking about, it wasn't even a music podcast, he was just talking about music, and he brought up Riverside, and he said, what I tell people is, listen to the song Loose Heart, and if you don't like that song, I think you don't like music. So I listened to that song, and it was awesome, and I went and got the record, and yeah, I've been following Riverside ever since. They're great. Looking forward to the new album. I swear I didn't play in that. Number 13, most anticipated album of 2023. Riverside for sure. I've already pre-ordered it. The New Immortal, I'm looking forward to. Also looking forward to Host. This is the Paradise Lost album, Host, that almost everyone in the world hates, except for maybe me. But Nick and Greg are doing a band called Host, if you weren't aware, that is kind of more in the style of this album, like electronic pop. So I'm very excited for that. I think Host I understand why everybody hated it, but I think it's a fun listen, and I'm excited to hear him do more in that style. Okay, 23rd album on the shelf. I pulled. Oh, here it is. High Spirits. This is the live bootleg. Sorry about the glare. Yeah, High Spirits, if you're not aware, is Chris Black from a million projects. This is his high energy rock and roll band, and they are great. I've seen them live a bunch of times, and it's always awesome. So yeah, check out High Spirits if you haven't. Last album into the collection. Well, I just did a review of it, so I won't talk much about it, but the new Graveworm, Morbid Trinity, it rolls. Check it out. Right. Random pull. I swear it was random, but I didn't want to thump around on camera with it, so I pulled out this Devin Townsend project. Is the 10-inch bonus that came with the Contain Us box set. Just a couple of leftovers. Yeah, rarities, whatever you want to call them. Unfinished demos. No, I mean, nothing on here is going to blow your mind, but it's a cool little collectible to have. Band you discovered through social media. I chose none. This is the Damp Chill of Life album. I was on a Facebook group and asked for people's recommendations for depressive black metal, and somebody, actually more than one person, recommended that, and they're totally right. They're where it's at for that style for me. Where do you see your collection progressing in the next 5 years? I guess about the same. As you can see from the shelves behind me and what I show, I 95% buy CDs, and those prices have not really moved yet. Vinyl is getting crazy, and as long as CDs stay around the same, then my collection will probably be the same. If they start jumping up, then we might have to reassess. And actually, I could buy less anyway, so It's not like I would be starved for something to listen to. Okay, a new release you didn't buy this year based on price alone. There were some box sets and stuff that would be nice, but you know, when you have 80% or 90% of what's in that box, and you're, you know, it's $100 or $200, it's an easy thing to pass on. Blood Incantation Time Wave Zero was the one that I didn't buy, mostly for price. I mean, it was an ambient album, which isn't totally my thing, but I was willing to give it a shot. And the regular edition, I was seeing for like $18 on CD, and then there was a special edition with an extra 20-minute song, and that was $25. And I just like, I can't. First of all, I'm not gonna buy. If I can buy one with the long bonus track, I want to buy that one. And I'm not paying close to $30 for a CD. Sorry. So yeah, that was that. Maybe it'll come down in price. Maybe it won't. If you guys notice Century Media's CD prices, they have crept up, and that's kind of annoying. All right, last question. Song that doesn't belong, or lets an album down. I kind of went another way with this question. A lot of people are picking cover songs, and that I did too, but my song was Trapped Under Ice from Abath Dreadreaver. I think this Trapped Under Ice doesn't exactly let this album down, because I think this album is freaking garbage. I thought it just was a mess, but I never understood putting a cover in the middle of your album anyway, like track 7 out of 9. Like, what the hell is that? But then he picks, like, you know, a kind of B-tier Metallica song, and it sounds better than anything on it, the rest of his stupid album. So that was the other way, where he picked a cover that revealed how shitty the rest of his material was. So that's my answer for that. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. I've been checking out a lot of the other Metal Tag videos and having fun watching them. So see you guys later.